The girl is watching a huge nuclear explosion, but then a guy grabs her and drags her outside. The inhabitants of the house also run there, pushing and crushing each other. A few lucky ones manage to escape to the basement, which is closed by a man named Mickey who lives there. Time later, the group of survivors come to their senses. Mickey turns on the lights and announces his rules. Do not open the door to anyone until the radiation has dissipated, and most importantly, obey the owner of the bunker without question. At that moment, there is a strong explosion from above, which makes the lights go out. But Mickey turns on the generator again and persuades the girl Wendy, who got into the basement with her mother, to be patient for a while. People check their cell phones, but no one has the network. Delvin finds a walkie-talkie and tries to catch a working net to call for help, but to no avail. Then the group goes to look around the premises. Mickey, being the owner of this house, has managed to make the basement quite habitable. There is a mattress storage, a small supply of food and water, and a toilet. The man is not happy that strangers have entered his hiding place, and does not hide his attitude towards those present, so he strictly forbids them to enter his room. Later, Wendy asks for food and her mother Marilyn asks Mickey to share his supplies. The man prepares a meal of canned beans for everyone. After lunch, Delvin uses the walkie-talkie again but gets no response. Josh, who has lost his patience, encourages his half-brother Adrian and friend Bobby to go upstairs, but Mickey grabs an axe and blocks their way. The man is willing to do anything to keep the door closed and describes what people who have been dosed with radiation look like. This convinces the men to obey Mickey. At night, everyone goes to bed, but Eve keeps an eye on Mickey and sees him getting cleaned up. In the morning, Marilyn comforts her daughter while Sam confesses his love to Eve and promises that they can survive and everything will be fine. Time passes without bringing anything new. The girl is capricious. The adults lose patience, and one day Sam snaps and is rude to Mickey, for which he gets a punch in the face, but at that moment people hear banging on the door. There is hope in Eva and Marilyn's eyes that they have been found by rescuers, but a cautious Mickey orders Dalvin to turn out the lights immediately, and everyone present watches anxiously as the door is sawed open. Armed men in chemical defense suits then enter inside and without saying a word examine those present. When they see Wendy, the unknown men tear her out of her mother's arms, inject her with some kind of drug and take her away with them after placing her in a closed box. The survivors try to hide at this time, but when one of the military finds Eva, Delvin attacks him from behind and knocks him out with a strong blow. This serves as a signal to the others. Faced with resistance, the masked men draw fire, but the civilians manage to fight back against the unknown men and take possession of their weapons. Mickey and Delvin urgently block the door. When it turns out that Adrian is wounded and gets help, and Eve does not find Sam and runs to look for him. The man turns out to be covered in blood, but he has no serious wounds. Later, the guys examine the bodies of the dead enemies and realize that their suits are radiation protection, and judging by their appearance, the attackers look like Koreans. Their conversation is interrupted by the screams of Marilyn, who is frantically trying to open the door to find her daughter and bring her back. The men lock her in the back room and begin to restore order in the shelter. Mickey orders Dalvin to turn off his walkie-talkie as he thinks it started their problems, and he notices sausages in his host's pocket which are not in the general ration. Later, Eve goes to Marilyn and tries to comfort the woman by easing her suffering. A time later, the men decide to send someone out on a reconnaissance mission, as one of the suits removed from the murdered man turns out to be intact. An argument begins over who exactly will go upstairs, and Josh wins. Marilyn asks the guy to bring her daughter back, and he promises to do his best. Going outside, he sees a long tunnel. Soon the man comes out to the laboratory, where he is mistaken for an employee, thanks to which he quietly examines the room. Josh sees boxes filled with human hair, and further away are boxes inside which he sees children with their eyes taped shut. They are all in a vegetative state and are hooked up to some kind of monitors. Suddenly, one of the employees exposes him, and the guy has to flee, shooting off pursuit along the way. Back in the shelter, he tells the others about what he saw. Immediately afterward, the survivors see that the door to the outside begins to be welded shut to prevent them from getting out again. People lose all hope and spend their days in despondency. Adrian's wound heals, and he finds sympathy and understanding in Eve. The girl confesses that she liked his guitar playing, which reached their apartment. After a while, the basement began to fill with the smell of rotting corpses. Mickey suggests chopping them up and throwing them down the toilet. Bobby agrees and, having gathered his courage, sets to work. That night, Marilyn comes to him, as if recognizing his right as master. Meanwhile, Delvin, having gone out at night to go to the bathroom, finds Mickey in the room where he has forbidden the others to enter. But the next day, the men decide to break the ban. Eva looks at the pictures on the wall and realizes that Mickey was a fireman and had a family. The landlord, catching them there, is outraged, for he had immediately marked the area as off-limits. But the men find various instructional videos there and watch them while Marilyn has fun with Bobby. Eve treats this without approval and tries to bring the woman to her senses, but reason seems to be deserting the unhappy mother. Meanwhile, people realize that food and water supplies are almost exhausted and express their outrage to Mickey. Things come to a fight, after which Josh begins to insist on trying to get out again, and Delvin finds a gun and breaks into Mickey's forbidden room. At gunpoint, the host is forced to open the door to the secret storage room, but a fight ensues, resulting in Delvin's death. Eve, who has been watching from the sidelines, calls out to the others. Bobby and Josh grab Mickey and tie him to a chair, after which they try to open his secret room. But nothing works because the lock is encrypted. The guys torture the man and demand to tell the code, although Sam, Eve, and Adrian try to urge them to be reasonable. Nevertheless, they cut off the man's finger and learn the code to the door. Upon opening the door, the humans find a pile of food and other survival necessities. Bobby suggests killing Mickey, who has been hiding his supplies from them, and Eve finds the man's wallet with pictures of his family. The company has a liquor dinner, during which Marilyn behaves promiscuously, prompting dirty taunts from Bobby and Josh. Eve, unable to stand it, leaves the table. Sam catches up with her and tries to induce intimacy, but the girl is reluctant, unlike Marilyn, who puts on makeup and goes to the guys. Adrian tries to be supportive of Eve in some way, and she appreciates his attention. Meanwhile, Bobby and Josh are completely losing their humanity. They bully Marilyn, and although the others try to protect the woman, the guys take her away. Sam becomes increasingly jealous of Eve and Adrian. Soon Josh declares himself the leader and starts giving out supplies as he pleases. He offers to earn lunch for Eve in a horrible way. The girl silently leaves the room, showing her contempt. Despite the scanty remnants of water, she still shares it with the bound Mickey. The latter asks for help to free himself, since he would have told about the supplies anyway when he realized who he could count on, and confesses to the girl that there is a gun hidden in the back room. Eve asks Sam to go with her, but the guy remembers that she used to take substances and live on the streets, and now, after he saved her, she's going to ruin him. An angry Sam walks away, leaving Eve in tears. She then sees him in the company of Josh and Bobby, who openly mock him by offering to do their stupid bidding for food. Marilyn is in a cage altogether, as the guys have finally turned her into a toy for their perverted pleasures. Josh forces Eve to take part in their game, which results in Sam being assigned the task of chopping up Delvin's body, but he can't do it because of his weakness. The guys then force Eve to replace him, threatening to break the guy's arms if she refuses. Eve takes the axe, which Adrian sees. When it's over, the perverts shave their heads as their hair falls out, and not realizing what they're doing, torture Marilyn to death. And then Bobby puts on women's lingerie and applies makeup. Eva is adamant about getting a gun and goes to see Mickey. He tells her where the gun is and confesses that the way out is through the restroom. But when the girl enters the storeroom, she is surrounded by Bobby and Josh, who needed another toy to replace Marilyn's broken one. Eve manages to get away and tells Adrian about the woman's death. Later, she discovers that her hair is starting to fall out as well and orders Sam to get a gun while she distracts the guys. The man manages to get hold of the gun, but he points it at Bobby while Eve has to fight off Josh. Adrian comes to the girl's aid and everyone ends up in the hallway. Eve asks to hand over the gun, but Sam shoots Adrian, which causes a wave of rage from Bobby and Josh. While they are beating the guy up, Eve tries to help the already weak Adrian, but realizing that Sam is about to be killed, she grabs a tin can lid and slits Bobby's throat before picking up the gun and running to untie Mickey. He manages to shoot Josh, who is catching up with the girl. After looking at the corpses of his brother and friend, the mortally wounded guy smashes a kerosene lamp, setting himself and the shelter on fire. Seeing Mickey and Sam's futile attempts to put out the fire, Eve remembers the exit Mickey told her about. She takes her only complete protective suit, locks herself in the toilet, and despite pleas for help, jumps into the sewers. Realizing that death is imminent, Mickey sits on the floor and smiles at the photo of her dead family until the end. Eva gets to the surface through the sewer and sees the deserted city destroyed by the explosion. The movie shows what people are capable of in a critical situation. On the one hand, it is worth helping other people due to limited resources, and on the other hand, it is necessary to remain a human being. Write in comments what you think about it.